showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Here we go. Yo, here we go. This is what we doing. What's going on, folks? What's going on? Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I'm here knocking out another week in the bag, talking to you guys, getting up on this mic. How's your week been? Mine's been cool. My week's been pretty all right. Just steadily grinding it out, doing what I gotta do, living the life. And treating it like every day is my last, man. And approaching life with a smile. One person was like, "Hell, sometimes why?" Some people may say when they first see me a couple of times, I'm so serious, and I am serious. There's a lot of things that are on my mind when it comes to business, life, family man, all those things. I got a lot of things that's turning over in my head. But once you get to know me, I'm a pretty cool, laid back guy. I try to look at things always with a smile, because it doesn't make sense to be miserable, man. I know someone that was, this older cat was super miserable. And I'm like, the birds could be chirping, the trees could be swaying, the ocean, you hear the waves, the sun is shining. I mean, kids playing in the background, that happy feeling, the sounds that you hear and the sights, right? On a sunny summer day, this dude will always try to find that dark cloud. And, after I got to know the guy for a while, I started to figure out why he was so miserable, because it became a running gag. It was this guy I used to work with like years ago in my like early years in the biz, like I was probably like 31 or something like that. And I got to know this cat, and he wasn't the best. Look, when I work with people, just because I work with you doesn't mean I like you. I'm just working with you. That's it. I'm trying to get through my day. And if I know I got to work with you, I will try to find something about a person or a situation to make me feel better. Like, okay, I got to go through this day with this person. I might as well make the best of it and rock and roll with it, So I'll try to find some small shining reflective surface to a person that I can hold on to and just try to figure out, and then, and I block out everything else. So, the guy was a miserable old cuss. But then I can also understand why he was miserable. He was going through a lot with he was an older dude, probably pushing on his 70s, 72. I think he was probably like 68 when he was knocking on 72. Wanted to retire, couldn't retire. His kid had diabetes, lost crazy toes. His little girl was his daughter had babies, and she kept on having babies, and he knew he had to help, and he's helping her and everything like that. And it was wild. And I had to work with this dude. His daughter I think was on her 5th kid, and he was like, I don't know why she keeps out having kids. And I'm like, hey man, I don't know. So he was going through a lot. He was like, it's a miserable old cuss, man. And to keep it honest, because I always keep it honest on the show, he was a racist dude. Racist old white man. But I had to work with him. He was a dude that I worked in a facility with. And I had to deal with him. I couldn't not, you know what I mean? If I didn't, it would have been like I wasn't a team player. So, I had to do my job. And like I said, I try to find the best out of a situation or the individual, knowing I got to work with the person. And I found out, I'm like, that's why you mad. Yeah. So when I get on this mic, man, I try to get on this mic with some joy, with some happiness. And even if I'm talking about serious subjects, I always try to look things in the best light possible. And that's just what it is. So yeah, that's why I talk to you guys and say, how's your week been? Hopefully it was good, for good and bad. As we know, life is full of ups and downs, and it is what it is. That's why I'm talking to you guys right now. So even if you're going through a bad moment and you can switch on your phone, flick on your phone, and then get to my show on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts, you know that that hopefully I could get your mind and distract you away from whatever you're going through, and you could just tune in to me and we can have an honest talk about what's going on. And sometimes some of the subject matter is not going to be like it's not going to be too happy joy. But yeah, if I can provide the distraction for you, man, I can even provide that service. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. But yeah, like I said, my week was all right. I was, going through all types of situations and scheduling and all that stuff. And man, I tell you, family is a beautiful thing. I say that. I'll put it like that. Family is a beautiful thing, but they can get you on your nerves. So at the end of the day, I'll say this. At the end of the day, family, they're the only people that got your back. So you can, have issues, family issues, and you can hate, family members for whatever that's going on. But really, we only have one life, and we've been given this gift, the breath of life, since birth. And we have to understand the good and the bad and the ugly of life and people, and accept people's friendships. And when friendships are over, we can learn when to separate ourselves from them. And we also have to learn detachment, because I think relationships are like seasons. They come in and they come out, and relationships could mean family members you no longer talk to, or friends, or a person that you had friends with, or whatever, a relationship, boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it is. They're all for seasons, and you have to accept what things are and keep it pushing and keep it moving. But if you can't accept that people are going to be different, and people are human beings, and they're going to be flawed. No one's absolutely perfect. That's a fairy tale. But if you can accept people's good parts right along with their bad parts, that's just what it is to have a friendship, what it is to have a relationship, that you can take the good with the bad and the bad with the ugly, and know that, that's who they are. And especially when it comes to family. So regardless how crazy things get, you have to have respectable distance, but you also have to love them for who they are, being the family member, whether it's cousin, sister, aunt, whatever, whatever it is. And that's what I come to accept. At my age, if whatever new friends that I make out in life, I know that people are not going to be perfect, and everybody's going to put their best foot forward, and you're going to get to know them, and it's going to go from 6 months to a year, and then you're going to find out all their idiosyncrasies, and it's up to you if you want to deal with those issues, man. It is totally up to you if you want to invite people's selves, their whole flawed selves, into your own life, and if you would like to take the time to deal with those flaws. Other than that, you don't have to befriend anyone that you do not like. You know what I mean? It is totally up to you. But if you do, know that everyone is not going to be exactly how they should be. And that's just the beauty of the variety of life when it comes to people on this planet. You're gonna understand that not everybody is going to be the best that they can be, and then some people are going to struggle, some people are going to have issues, real bad ones, and that's up to you if you want to help them. And then other people, I don't know, there's going to be things where I don't know, they don't like throwing out the how should I put it, they're always late. Whenever you meet up with them, they're always late, like 20 minutes, half hour, or whatever the case may be. It's up to you if you want to deal with it. You know what I mean? I know that I have good friends in my life, even if I don't speak to a whole lot of them as frequently as I should. But when I do get up with them, I do get up with them, even family members. But I know even if I don't speak to a friend for a long time, because we both have responsibilities and duties in our lives, and we may not hang out as much as we used to back in our, teenagers, in our young adult years, that I know if their phone had to be picked up and they say, hey man, I need some help, I would be there for them without a doubt, because you can't just toss away over a 20-year relationship or engagement with your friend, male or female. That's not going away. And it's especially if you ain't leave or separate over bad blood. It's just that people are busy. We're all adults, especially if you have kids and things of that nature, and you do the best that you can with the time that you got, and then when you do get up, you will get up, but it's no love lost, as I always tell my friends all the time, because I know I could be so bad, I could be so terrible with keeping in touch with people, man. I do not call a single individual. They call me and I'll be like, yo, what's up? But I have this thing, I don't know, I have this thing about, it's a bad habit where I don't call people. That's just me. I don't call people at all. Yeah, and it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, man. So let's just get the show rocking and rolling, and we can make it happen. I am your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio on iHeartRadio. And the first topic of the day is going to be something that's going to go against the grain of what a lot of people are talking about when it comes to voting and the senators and the politicians that we put into place. And a lot of people saying vote, vote, vote. And I agree with the vote, vote, vote. But you want to put your vote into the right position. And, I also battle with the vote, no vote thing. I want people to realize if they choose not to vote, understand the waters that you're putting yourself in, the choppy waters you're putting yourself in. Some people are saying don't vote at all. It's useless. If you don't have politicians that you believe in, you have one side that you definitely don't agree with, and you have another side that's just taking advantage of your vote. So my position is always to use your vote in whatever way possible. People died for you to vote. The struggle that African-American people had to go through to vote, and for people not to vote and letting someone that's clearly your enemy, to me, it doesn't make sense. But also for the person that you supposedly is supposed to be on your side, if they're not telling you what you want to hear, then don't vote for them. So I'm totally about being strategic. I'm not talking about being blind to the fact on the importance of voting. I'm just saying, list out the reasons, the pros, the cons, and figure out who you can. And if you don't like the politicians that are in front of your face, then get with your people, get with people that's in your block, your community, and push someone forward to be the candidate of choice for your city, your county, your state. Now, I bring that up because there was a video that's circulating right now online with Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock. He's a senator for Georgia. The brother got in. The other senator, what is his name? Raphael Warnock, I know, but it was during the last election, Georgia senators. They were saying that these two senators are necessary as far as the power for the Democrats to have, and it was key for them to be in. Is John Ossoff. So it's Raphael Warnock and is John Ossoff, the two Democratic senators right now of Georgia. So Raphael Warnock was doing a town event or a town hall meeting or something or other, and a brother came up to the mic and asked him questions about what he was going to do in order for this brother to vote for Raphael Warnock again. And he brought up the topic of reparations. Yes, he brought up the topic of reparations, Senator Raphael Warnock. He responded in a way that was very slick. And it's not like I'm a stranger to that. I've seen this tactic before. He did not answer the brother's question about reparations to black people. I forgot how the question went. But he did not answer it directly. He went off about, the laws that we want to institute has to be for equity and for minorities, and ding, 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 ding. Red flag number one. Minorities, let's not go for that word, minorities. Minorities is a word that is loosely used. If you think they're talking about the issues of black people, it really means all the other people of color. And that's what we're talking about, because black voters are getting smarter, and they're saying, no. since you want to give all these other concessions and money and whatever to other people of color, somehow in a very interesting way, black people still end up getting the short end of the stick. So black voters are getting smarter about that. And you have to look for, the diversity, the red flag words of diversity and equity and minorities and everybody. Basically what the previous president, Barack Obama, said, rising tide lifts all boats. And it sounds really good. It really does sound really good. Now, I'm not here to put the bashing on Senator Raphael Warnock. What I'm here for is not so much for Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock, because he's going to say what he's going to say, and he's trying to fit himself comfortably into the Democratic seat so he can make sure that he gets his benefits as a person that got into this senator seat. Now, I'm here more for the voter. You have to be aware of the words that certain politicians will use in order to deflect, distract, and avoid answering any questions directly on questions that they do not want to answer directly. And in this case, of course, is reparations. Now, as I said, he said it very slyly, and I wish that brother would have cut him off and said, "Excuse me, no disrespect, Senator Warnock, but you're saying all these other things about equity and minorities and programs that's going to," and he sidetracked and something about school or some craziness. Please, let's stick to answering my question, and it's about if black people can get reparations. Now, that was very slick, Senator Warnock, but black voters are getting a lot smarter in how they expect to get certain things from the people they're voting in. Now, I'm talking to black voters. It's very sly. Do not vote for a person that's not going to be for black issues. Even if it's a black politician, do not vote for this person. Now, I've heard that they wanted to actually vote in this other freaking idiot, what's his name? Herschel Walker. No. I'm not even saying no, don't vote for this. Nah, don't do that. Don't vote for this mushhead, man. Don't vote for Herschel Walker. But you don't have to vote for Senator Warnock, and you have to show in your vote that black people mean business and they want to get the answers that they deserve, and they want to get the issues that deals specifically with black issues. They want to get they want to make sure they get what they need from the politicians that they voted in. Now, don't vote for them, man. Don't vote for them. Plain and simple. And I'm not saying you won't get upset. Don't get trippy. Nah. Just simply saying, all right, listen, is that your answer, Senator Raphael Warnock? But you have to have follow-up. You're not getting my vote. And let him feel it, not in the words that you say, but on who you're going to vote for, who you're not going to vote for. Because the times are over where people are starting listening to the slick, sly talk when it comes to answering these questions on issues dealing with black people. Now it's time to really get serious, and when they don't answer these questions, you can simply say, well, you're not getting my vote. But right to his face and shake his hand while you do it. Shake his hand and smile. Hey, thanks for the answer, Senator Raphael Warnock. You're not going to be voted for when it comes time for the next election. Simply say that. And then when he does say, hey, why would you say that? And let him hear it, either from the crowd at the town hall meeting, or when you're hitting up on social media or YouTube or wherever you hear him saying some craziness, you can simply say, I'm not voting for you. And when he says, well, I don't understand why you're not voting me, simply say, because you're not dealing with the issues, black issues that we've been dealing with for decades. And when the topic of reparations came up, you wanted to sidetrack it. You wanted to throw in some other words that has nothing to do with us. And of course, it's feel-good words, because when it comes time to putting some legislation together, which probably could be put together if you pressure them enough, somehow black folks is going to get the short end of the stick, or everyone else is going to get something except black people. So we want to be very specific in the words that's being chosen, whether in the response to the brother that was talking about reparations or whatever legislation that's going to be put forth in Georgia for the people, for black people specifically. Now, I'm not saying anybody else is not going to get paid attention to, because they are getting paid attention to, as you know what's happening on the federal level. Okay, if billions and billions and billions of dollars can be given to Ukraine and all these other countries, if billions of dollars could be given to everybody else out there outside this country, we can deal with issues, especially issues that affect American citizens, specifically African Americans. Don't go for minorities. Don't go for POCs. Don't go for the words of equity and making it fair for everybody, because we've heard those words before for years and years and years. We want specifics. Spell it out. BLACK. Spell it out, because there are some issues that affect black people specifically. And we're talking about whether it's housing, we're talking about police brutality, we're talking about when it comes to reparations, we're talking about anything that have put black people at a disadvantage, and they're seriously 5 steps behind on trying to have a quality American life, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Isn't that what we're trying to get, right? So it's time to start paying attention to issues specifically for black people. Now, when we're talking about reparations, you should say something that's going to start getting the conversation on desk in the halls of Congress. Hey man, speak those words. Even if it echoes through the hallways and it takes another 2 to 5 years to get people to start listening, at least you're putting it on the table. At least you're getting on record that black issues such as reparations is at the forefront. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. I think that was terrible what Raphael Warnock did. So he thinks he's gonna really pull a slick one over on this gentleman, and he probably already knew already, and the mic wasn't close to him. But definitely on the replay when it starts circulating online, people are not going for it, particularly black people. So yeah, Raphael Warnock, I don't know if you have much time left. So, and please, folks, we have to start voting for your interests. Black people got to start voting for their interests. Vote for your interests. If the politician is not giving you the proper information that's going to get the ball rolling on specific issues that disproportionately affect African Americans, then you gotta go. Then he's gotta go, or she's gotta go. If you want someone listening to you, get together, say, hey, let's draw straws here. Who wants to be the senator? Put him in line. Put the lady in line, him or her. I don't care who it is. All right. And then they can work their way up, whether it's a city council member or whatever. Put these people in line. The more people you have in line that represents you, that comes directly from your community, and you have 6 or 7 people that you have handpicked, the community has handpicked to take these seats, you will start filling up Congress, the halls of Congress, with people that truly represent you. Not people that come out of nowhere and say, hey, I'll represent. It's not even about color anymore. It's not, and I said this many a times on the show, it's not about the first black anything. First black woman, first black man, first black. Fuck the first. Who gives a goddamn about the first? Now it's time to really get down to the nitty gritty on issues that are affecting black people. I don't care what color you are. If someone asks you a question about issues that are specific to black people, I don't care what color you are. If you can have a full-fledged, fleshed out answer and giving a step-by-step on how you're going to get that out there when you go to DC, that's what I'm talking about. But as far as these words that we're saying, nah, we're not doing that. As I said, no minorities, no people of color, no, not that equity. Now we're gonna put these things together and talk about taxes, and the Child Rearing Act, that's gonna help all people. What's that got to do with black people? The sea boats. All right, we're gonna fish tuna out of the sea, and we're gonna distribute it to all the supermarkets. What's that got to do with black people? Well, we're gonna build tables and make sure they're the right shellacking of the wood, and we're going to give it to IKEA and we're going to start selling it. What's that got to do with black people? That's what we got to say, man. What's that? Okay. What's that got to do with black people? You got to get them right back on track. And if they keep on saying, well, so much for you, next, that's how you got to get. Because you see, I see what's happening. And I've been hearing the talk for quite a while. All right. So next one, Hurricane Ian, man. Hurricane Ian really took a toll on Florida. They're saying the damages would cost up to $60 billion to repair Florida. And that number is astronomical. I can't believe it. $60 billion. It's terrible. And so far the death toll has been about 4 dozen reported dead. Hundreds of thousands of people that do not have power. My condolences and prayers will go to all those folks that lost their lives, and to their families and loved ones. It's terrible that, we're still dealing with this up to this point in Florida. I figured that we would have some way where we can have a proper answer to hurricanes. But, I had this conversation that, it doesn't matter how, nature keeps us humble. You know what I mean? As much progress and advancements that human beings has made in this world, it doesn't matter what we make. When nature actually responds with a hurricane or a typhoon or earthquake or whatever, or thunderstorms, there's nothing that humans have made that can actually deal with nature's fury. So, I don't know why people still live there, man. And I understand Florida is the sunshine state, and, it's beautiful weather and all that. But when hurricane season comes and you get that right mixture in our environment, in the scare, in the atmosphere, you're going to have a Hurricane Ian. And time and again, people build. And that's what we do as humans. We build. But then when it comes, it will knock it right back down again. So in like a 20-year period, certain people can have their homes knocked down. I don't know let's see how many hurricanes that Florida has. How many hurricanes does Florida get? I don't know, get a year or whatever. So every 3 years, they say, on this Atlas thing, World Atlas, just general information. I would go deeper, but just to get an idea, I could dig a little deeper to see if that is true. But they say every 3 years, the state of Florida experiences an average of one major hurricane. That's crazy. Now, the 20-year period, that's a lot of hurricanes, man. Some may be a little serious, other may be like a freaking, trifecta storm, and it could, like what happened with Hurricane Ian. So I failed to understand, people put a lot of money into building homes in these specific areas, and a lifetime, what is it, a 30-year fixed? When you buy your home, it takes about 30 years to pay off your loan. Man, you can have, if you live in Florida, you are constantly being threatened with hurricanes that can knock down your home, and you got to rebuild it. And man, that's crazy. And the other thing is, why haven't we innovated a way to build homes that can withstand hurricanes? Okay, if you want to live down there, I understand. You want to live in Florida, it's beautiful weather. I get it. Humans are hard-headed. Humans are hard-headed. You want to live down there. But how come we do not have architects and engineers get together and say, okay, if human beings going to live in an area that's prone to hurricanes every 3 or 4 years, let's, instead of building the homes of how it was 100 years ago, let's build new homes that can withstand hurricanes so they don't get blown down. So, I mean, we have the technology, we have the human ingenuity to build something that can withstand hurricanes. Bring it up tonight. Right now, these homes has got no chance. It's like 15% chance of surviving Hurricane Ian. But let's build proper homes get some architects and engineers together, hammer out a proper design that when a hurricane comes, and it may not be 100% foolproof, but at least get it up in the 80s and 90s. And all you got to do is change a couple of windows instead of pretty much bulldozing the rubble off to the side and having to rebuild a whole new home from the ground up. I'm sure it's somewhere online where you have a couple of people from a firm that have built close to hurricane proof homes. We can't continue to do this. People can't continue to get their homes built and it gets blown down, 2 or 3 times in their life. Why? It costs so much money, especially our infrastructure. Hundreds of thousands of people are without power, and it's already hot as hell in Florida. I told you, come back from vacation, hot as balls, man. hot as balls down in Florida, man, during the summer season. So I mean, it's got to be a way where, again, of course, my trusty computer, hurricane proof home designs. Let's see here. Okay, I see some here. Round houses are properties with square structures reduce the wind pressure on any one side, while a 30-degree roof slope offers the best wind deflection. Hurricane-proof homes are often fitted with reinforced windows and impact glass to keep the property weather tight. Wow. So I'm seeing designs. Let's go to images, and I'm seeing these designs here. Interesting. Building a hurricane-proof home. See, they're already out there. These homes are out there now. I'm sure they've gone through. They've built. These architects and these designers have built smaller scale models, and they put them in wind tunnels. So to see, of course, the same thing where you have a car, you can see the aerodynamics of these smoke-filled wind turbines, so you can actually see how the wind is flowing over by using smoke. It's the same thing. I'm sure that these designers can build these hurricane proof homes to see how the wind is actually wrapping itself around these homes, and these homes stay up. They're not getting blown down. I know this has happened and is recorded somewhere. I haven't looked it up, but to hear the pain and the cries and the anguish and the suffering from Floridians, and they're dealing with this, and especially from an insurance point of view. Let's take it from a money standpoint. Like, the insurance company says, of course, you're living in a hurricane prone area, you're gonna have flood insurance or whatever. It's your home insurance is gonna be X amount higher in these areas as opposed to what it would be if it was by northern Florida or wherever. Yeah, I understand. How come these legislation, get your politicians together, get these private companies together, and instead of building homes, the same Victorian style homes, build homes that are specific to that region, for Christ's sakes, folks. So you said Senator Mark Rubio, Representative Matt Gaetz, and Governor Ron DeSantis and other Florida Republicans turned down the Florida Disaster Relief Bill. Why did they turn down this bill? So it passed in the House, but all these Republicans turned it down. Now, Governor DeSantis is actually saying that there's a lot of pork, meaning there's a lot of extra fat in this bill. Of money being spent, the money being spent. Sometimes it could, Democrats could throw in a couple of things if you're not looking, which I don't even understand. Why would you do that? In terms of trying to pass a bill or on a strictly political, the process, yeah, you're going to try to sneak in a little legislation, some words that you can use to your advantage. But in this case, where you have a lot of Florida people going through suffering, I don't think it's the right time to try to sneak in. But this is the other thing. I don't know what exactly is pork by what these Republican senators are talking about. If they have additional pork within this bill, this hurricane relief bill for Florida, then simply state it. Say exactly what is the problem. Because if you're just going to say, oh, it's just just has a whole bunch of pork in it, then, why should I believe you? And of course, the track record so far with the Republican Party, you really can't believe much of what they say nowadays. There's always something that they're going to use it to spin to try to throw dirt on the other side. So I want to know what's exactly is pork that they couldn't sign this bill, especially when the people are going through what they're going through right now after this hurricane. So that is an interesting thing. Yeah. Next, man, the Dahmer movie, man. I saw the Dahmer movie. Man, I mean, people got a lot of words for this, man. The families, of course, have words for this. They didn't the content of the Dahmer movie. It's probably like the fourth or fifth. Let me tell you, to see what these people went through is because, of course, I remember some of the bit of the trial and the news that was going on about Jeffrey Dahmer at the time. I remember it. I remember this dude just being mad silent, just sitting at the court. Of course, the news was talking about, what he did and, the demonic things that he did. It's crazy. But, this movie took the time out to really to give some background as far as what the neighbors was going through, what the character, Glenda Cleveland, his next door neighbor, what she had to endure. It's like it gives you a definite insight on what these people actually had to deal with, man, living with this guy. But the funny thing is, wow, before I get to that, because I know I mentioned Glenda Cleveland, because I did a little digging afterwards, and it's funny, but I'll get back to that in a second. But the other thing, what really kind of highlighted, and they shown in the movie, was how the entire society failed these people. The cops failed them, of course, when they had the Asian kid that was like, he was in a stupor and he was half conscious, naked, running through the streets, and they had to bring him back. And the cops was like, yeah, we're going to just give him back to this guy named Jeffrey. I mean, Glenda in the movie, Glenda was like, no, do we know the age of this? He looks like a boy. And then they totally put all their faith and trust into Jeffrey Dahmer, not knowing who the hell this is. Like, I'm looking at somebody and I can know if somebody looks kind of young, and they were just they was just going for the story that Jeffrey Dahmer was saying. I was amazed. Glenda's employment, they were talking about they didn't like, I guess, the attention that Glenda, quote unquote, I'll say that, was going through, and they totally threw her, like, I wouldn't say threw her under the bus, but they were very callous of how Glenda was handling this whole thing and not taking her feelings into consideration. Look, the entire city failed. The neighborhood failed Glenda, quote unquote, and I'll get to that, air quotes, why I'm saying that. And I mean, not only was Jeffrey Dahmer's, his actions was criminal, I mean, criminally insane, but also how society treated these black folk in the neighborhood was also criminally insane. And of course also the I can't remember the name, that it was in a Laotian family, which the boy was Laotian, the Asian kid was Laotian, and what they had to go through, especially the family, that Laotian family. He has a long last name. I don't want to even brutalize by trying to repeat this last name. It has a lot of syllables, but all respect to that family that had to go through that hell. It's amazing the racist tirade, the people that came out of the woodwork that was threatening this Asian family. Unreal. Unfucking real, I tell you. And I'm like, what? That happened? Of course. Now the thing is about movies, whether it's Netflix or a Hollywood studio, you have to remember this is a movie. It's just a play, and there's a lot of fill-ins to fill out the story pretty much on these characters. So a lot of that stuff is true. A lot of the stuff is fake. I'm sure the director and the writers went back to, of course, the recorded tapes of Jeffrey Dahmer when he was talking to the police or a psychologist. Of course, they taped all that stuff. I'm sure they were taking a lot of the firsthand accounts, the written statements, and everything from the neighbors and family, what they went through with the family. I'm sure they didn't talk to any of the families. I'm sure there was some recorded, whether it's handwritten or audio recorded information from the families, what they were enduring as far as before he got arrested, Dahmer got arrested, what happened to the victims of the family, to how they had to deal with the cops until after the fact. So I know all of this. They probably did all this gathering of information and kind of pieced together a script just to give you a clear picture of what these people were going through. Of course, there was some fill-ins of, they're going to have to go through a little bit of, do a little bit an artistic, what they call artistic license, to kind of give you an understanding, even the emotionally what these people were going through, even if the dialogue didn't really happen, even if there's certain characters that really didn't exist. Now, this is kind of going into what I was saying before with Glenda Cleveland. Me reading about the neighbors, of course, after I saw the documentary, and I'm like, okay, let me just read up on this lady, Glenda Cleveland, the next door neighbor to Jeffrey Dahmer. The wild thing is, as I said, artistic license. Glenda Cleveland, the woman that lived next to Jeffrey Dahmer, didn't actually live next to Jeffrey Dahmer. She actually lived in a building adjacent to where Jeffrey Dahmer was in. But the real neighbor was a woman by the name of Pamela Bass. So they kind of mixed up Glenda Cleveland, taking a little bit from what Glenda Cleveland was saying, or her accounts, and kind of, they kind of took what Pamela Bass, her accounts, and threw it into Glenda Cleveland. And Glenda Cleveland was lived next door, and Pamela Bass was the next door neighbor. Actually, after Dahmer got arrested, Pamela Bass, she lived there until a couple of years afterwards, and then left to go to another apartment building a mile down the way. And she actually was going through everything, that you see what the character Glenda Cleveland was going through in the film. Miss Cleveland, matter of fact, didn't discover the drug 14-year-old Asian kid. Her daughter and her niece did. However, she did follow up with the cops and call them just to follow up on the boy, to follow up what they were doing about the suspicious activities in Dahmer's apartment. So again, I don't know why the directors kind of flipped the story like that. I'm not going to even go into detail, any more detail. I'm sure you want to see it for yourself. I guess if you want to. A lot of other people don't want to see the Dahmer because it's so creepy and gruesome. So I'm not going to just give it up what they had the character Glenda Cleveland go through. You have to see it for yourself. So and a lot of the stuff, like I said, it's public information anyway. It's just how they handle the information and switched up the character. I don't even know why they did that for whatever reason. That just goes to show, don't take Hollywood movies as historical accounts. Don't take it as actual history, unless it's a documentary and someone's really kind of lay out the chain of events of what happened at a particular time to specific people. Then of course you're gonna say, wow, that took place. But when it's a drama, like how they did with Dahmer, don't expect. To be honest, probably half the stuff is just made up anyway. You know what I mean? It really depends on how the director and the writers want to present the movies to the audience. So the same thing goes for the Woman King. A lot of these things, when I was doing a little looking online, a lot of the stuff didn't happen. Of course, it happened so long ago. Who's to say? So again, that artistic license, they're going to spend a lot with that story to kind of convey emotion and to send a certain message. And I'm not going to get into it. I did not see The Woman King. I have my own thoughts on it. I read a lot of reviews. Sorry, not to segue off to the Dahmer story. After I looked at some reviews, after kind of like looking at the trailer. I know you can't get much from the trailer, but just really kind of seeing what was the conversation out there, I also had my own conclusions or ideas of how this movie was going to be based on the trailer. And there's certain things that I knew I was more than likely I was going to disagree with. And it was kind of, my thoughts were kind of reinforced by certain people that I was listening to on the reviews they were giving the movie. So I'm sure it's a well-crafted movie. Viola Davis I think she was a part of the one of the producers of the film. So I'll give it up to Viola Davis. I love Viola Davis and the deepest of my heart. I'm telling you, I love everything that she is. But of course, I always have to dissect a movie, especially if it's a black movie coming from Hollywood, on how it's presented. So I know at some point I'll see Woman King. As you guys already know, I don't really go to the movies like that. I wait for the movies to come out online. That's just me. If it's a big blockbuster movie, I'm gonna go check it. But if it's anything that's questionable in my eye, I'll just wait for it to come out on movie streaming. I'm not gonna break my ass and go through that whole movie thing. Like I was used to do. I'm not doing that anymore. Like I said, I'm definitely going to see Black Adam in the theaters. I'm definitely going to see Black Panther in the theaters. I will see if I know for sure that I'm going to enjoy a film. I will spend my hard-earned money to go see the flicks. But if it's a movie that I'm like, I'll just wait for that joint to come out on TV, whatever. Speaking of TV, Entergalactic, ENTER Galactic, it's an anime. Look, this is the wild thing. I saw, I think it was on social media, I saw that they said, "Oh, Entergalactic just dropped." And I'm like, Entergalactic? And I saw a little bit of the trailer, and I rushed over to YouTube and I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh snap, this joint looks kind of hot. Yeah, I'm into animation. If you don't know, I love animation. Been into it since I was young, so I never left it, of course, into my adult years. So I'll watch anything. I haven't been really into a lot of anime, like the new stuff. My nephew and niece, they're hardcore into anime, like Hunter x Hunter, and I don't know, there's the one with a soccer team. There's a lot of different animes out there, and the reason why I haven't been so hardcore in anime, or Japanime is another flip to the term, is because I was kind of getting tired with a lot of the anime style, and I was like, I've seen that before. The dialogue, I've heard the dialogue so many different times for years. The dialogue gets kind of repetitive. So I haven't really been interested in a lot of anime. My nephew, niece is new to it, so they're like, "Oh my God, I love this!" But I've been watching anime for so long, and it's like 2022. I'm at a point where it's like, it's all right. If something, sometimes anime really shines through, and I'll check it out. But and to be real, they have a Marvel anime, and I'm gonna get right back to Entergalactic. They have a Marvel anime of Batman. Never really watched it. I just don't. It just doesn't take me to see Batman in anime style. They also have a Wolverine anime. Never really liked it, and the voiceovers. To me, I am so used to having the American style animation for these characters, these American characters. To me, it just doesn't translate. It doesn't go over, and especially with the Japanese way they do their voiceovers to these characters, it feels off to me. So when I'm hearing Wolverine slash and punch, and him grunting and growling and doing the Wolverine thing, when you hear from a Japanese voiceover, it just throws me off. So I saw a little bit of the Wolverine thing, and I was like, nah, whatever. And the same thing with that Batman. You know what? I didn't even see the Batman. It just didn't take me. I was like, man, whatever. But back to this Entergalactic. So I'm like, what is Entergalactic? So I saw the trailer. The trailer was, I liked the trailer. I liked the animation. So it just so happened and dropped. I think I saw it last week. So I saw it literally 24 hours later after seeing the trailer because it was available on Netflix. And I got to give it up to everyone that was a part of it. Let me tell you, these characters look so familiar. And actually, yes, they are familiar and well known. So Kid Cudi, the rapper, was Jabari. The main character is Jesse and Jessica Williams, the comedian, as Meadow, Laura Harrier as Carmen, Timothy Chalamet as Jimmy, Ty Dolla $ign as Kai, Kenya Barris. He's the executive producer of the project, and I read a little bit on it. And Kenya Barris is a fan of Kid Cudi, and they kind of chopped it up a little bit ago, and he was excited based on the music that Kid Cudi played. From what I remember from reading the article, Kenya Barris like right away called the studio and was like, "You got to hear this music." Whoever the rep was at the studio went over, heard the music, and it was like, "Oh my God, yeah, let's do this." And it was I love they put money into this animation. I loved it. Entergalactic. Actually, the music the story was dope. I'm not going to give away the story, but it's a relationship story. So it's not anything like outside the box, but it's a relationship story. So you get to know the characters. The setting is in New York, and you see these two people meet, trying to deal with relationshipy things. So I appreciate the story. It was basic. It was, like I said, it was nothing that was extraordinary, but the animation was what really took me, and I really dug the characters because I thought of myself in this movie. It was, like I said, the setting was in New York, so there was a lot of things that really kind of caught me, and this hit some spots in me because I'm a New Yorker, born and raised, and I like how the story was unfolding and the language that they were using, the dialogue. And even before I knew that Kenya Barris was executive producers, when I was listening to the dialogue, I didn't describe it. I didn't find the words at the moment, but when I was listening to the dialogue, to the characters interacting with each other, I'm like, yo, that's something that I would say. And it didn't click until later when I found out that Kenya Barris was executive. I'm like, yes, man, yes, it had to be somebody black with because it just didn't sound. It didn't sound. Like force, you know what I mean? The dialogue didn't sound forced, like it was coming from another voice, another mouth. Like, yeah, you're cool. Like, cool dude. Like, it just didn't sound like it. Sounded really that the words that were being exchanged was something that I would say or my friends would say, and there was little things that were in there that I was like, yeah, you wouldn't know that. That's black culture speaking. You know what I mean? That's gotta come from a black mind, a black voice, whoever's really kind of dishing this out. Now, if the writers are white, I don't know. They must have discussed with Kenya Barris, and it could have been something that was kind of switched up. Definitely there was black people in that room. I don't know who the direct writers were, what color they were, what race they were, but I'm telling you, there were black people in that room when they were drafting this script and then putting it out there for these actors to do the voiceovers. And the actors, like I said, chef's kiss, love everything that they did. As I said, the music was fantastic. Actually, Entergalactic is a recent. Also, not. I'm like, yo, is there a soundtrack? Because this music is dope. And now let me tell you, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big Kid Cudi fan. I'm not to say that I dislike Kid Cudi, not to say I think his music is trash, or I just never gave Kid Cudi a chance to be real. Like, I heard a couple songs, okay, that's dope, but it never kind of like sucked me into his world. But let me tell you, this joint right here, having the opportunity to listen to several songs that Kid Cudi was on, he was kind of laced throughout the whole animation movie. I'm definitely, and it's also an album I found out. Entergalactic is a Kid Cudi album, and possibly the last studio recording that Kid Cudi is going to do. He says he's kind of reached his limit with putting out records. He's been doing this for a long time, longer than I thought. Reading an article, he's been putting out, this is his 10th studio album. I'm like, what? Where was I for the last 9? Kid Cudi is a vet. This being his 10th studio album, and he says he's kind of getting tired of doing the music, the studio thing, recording, coming up with the songs, and then once the project is finished and doing touring. So he's had his fill of music, and he says he wants to move on to other things. If it's acting, yo, be my guest, man. I would love to see Kid Cudi come into the fold into Hollywood. Let's see what happens. But I'm definitely going to get his music. I'm definitely going to get his catalog. And you know who else I have to get catalog? MF Doom. That's another dude that, again, sorry, I'm a Johnny come lately with MF Doom. Heard a few songs of MF Doom, but I heard recently I heard a song, I forgot the name of it, but I'm like, damn, this dude got bars. And yeah, of course I knew MF Doom had bars, but really listening to the song, I'm like, yo, this dude really got bars. I'm really not, moving on MF Doom. But yeah, that's definitely, I want to get his whole catalog, MF Doom, and if anybody, don't sleep on MF Doom. He was a diamond in the rough. I think he was heavily slept on. If he had the proper backing, not to say he didn't have the proper backing, but to me, MF Doom was a missed opportunity because I always put him in the same vein as Gorillaz. Gorillaz, that the kind of like the pop rap group. Gorillaz, and they have cartoons to take the place of the artist, and all their videos are in this particular animation. That's the Gorillaz. You know what I'm talking about. So I always put MF Doom, but it never. MF Doom always stayed in pocket. You know what I mean? He's like a cult favorite, and there's a lot of people that love MF Doom, but to me, I don't think he's ever crossed over into the pop realm. And I guess a lot of times people do say that's okay. They don't want their artists to be kind of like exploited to be in this pop realm. But definitely I had to get his catalog. And I encourage other people out there to get into MF Doom and Kid Cudi. I'm definitely going to get it today as a matter of fact. So yeah, like I said, the story was pretty cool, and the animation was tight. Oh yeah, the animation. What caught me was the animation. I guess it's the new look now because it's a new type of animation. It's giving that comic booky, hand drawn feel. This animation, and it reminded me of Into the Spider-Verse that came out in 2018, and the Netflix movie Arcane that came out in 2021 recently. And it's funny, they took off Arcane. I don't know why they took off Arcane. I was reading up on it, and I'm like, they did? Netflix took it off? Don't know why they did that. Who knows? But Arcane had a look like, to me, like Into the Spider-Verse, and that's what took me with Entergalactic. So please check out Entergalactic on Netflix. You'll enjoy it. It's a cute story. It's about I think an hour and a half or something, but you'll really appreciate the project for what it is. Big ups of Kenya Barris for putting this out, man. I'm looking forward to seeing more, something along those lines. And if Kid Cudi wants to continue, do a part 2 of Entergalactic, that would be super dope, man. Yeah, the next thing is, NASA just launched, it's wild. NASA just launched a satellite. It's called DART. I wouldn't say a satellite, but a ship almost. I guess a small little, it's called DART, Double Asteroid Redirection Test Mission. Why am I bringing this up? So NASA says that the scientist says the Earth is constantly under threat of being hit by a meteor. Now, of course, they'll say a lot of the documentaries, like the science stuff, like I said, I'm into sciencey things, how the dinosaurs died because of a meteor. There's a lot of craters that you may not realize from staying on the Earth, but from an aerial shot, you'll see meteors have smacked into the Earth, just like how you see those craters that are on the moon. So they said at some point in time, the Earth is going to be struck by another large meteor or asteroid, whatever you want to call them. So they have to figure out a way to protect human life on this planet. There's 8 billion people on this planet, because if asteroid comes and hits the Earth, we are done. So they created this thing called DART, right? So they made this thing called DART as a test run to shoot towards a passing meteor or whatever. That's, we're never in danger of this particular, just to see if they can hit the target. You know what I mean? Shooting a bullet towards a moving target. And they were successful. They took some footage. It's very grainy. It's very blurry, but you can actually see this ship, DART, running into this asteroid, and you see like a poof of smoke from the impact. And I guess, I'm assuming the only way they can move a huge asteroid that could be hurling towards Earth is if they put some sort of that's the only thing that's powerful enough is nuclear, like, a nuclear device, something on this. If we are ever in threat of an asteroid or something like that, they put a nuclear device on this ship, on this rocket, and they'll shoot it into space to hit this thing so it can like push it away out of the path, you know what I mean, out of Earth's path or something like that, so we don't turn into the dinosaurs. So this thing costs about like $130 million. That's a pretty expensive test, and I say that because I give it up to the scientists that did it. Congratulations, little hand clap. All right, I understand that. I get that. If we can spend $130 million sending a rocket ship and hurtle it towards a passing asteroid, we can figure out how to solve the water issue. You know what I'm getting at. In Flint, Michigan, and in freaking Mississippi. Okay? We can figure it out. Let me see this. See if this is the right price. I want to see if this is a right. Let me see. DART price. DART test. Price tag. Let's see if I can find it under there. DART. Yeah, 300 and actually, wow. It actually costs $324 million. Forget the $130 million that they raised. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I'm reading that from another part of my notes. I meant 325, not 130 million. This thing costs $325 million to shoot that rocket into space, and I'll get to that 130 million later. Yeah, 325 million. It costs 300. That's even worse. $325 million to send this rocket into outer space to hit this meteor, and then yet we still having problems in Flint, Michigan, and in Jackson, Mississippi. So it's all well and good that you're shooting into outer space and you're doing these mission tests to save 8 billion people. That's beautiful. But if the government could come up with $325 million to shoot that shit into the black of space, then yeah, we can figure out the water crisis in both cities so far, and many other cities are having water issues as well. Yeah, so 325 million smacks. Oh my God. So this is old news, man, to let you guys know, but they actually built a battery that can charge in 5 minutes. I forgot the name of the company. Let me see here. It's called, the company it's a lithium ion battery that's being developed by an Israeli company called StoreDot, and it's being manufactured by Eve Energy in China. They already have it in phones and drones and scooters, and they actually want to showcase it to car makers and to other companies. Now, this is where I get the $130 million from. Daimler, BP, Samsung, and TDX have all contributed to raising funds for this new fast charging battery, about $130 million. Now, that's a beautiful thing that we could get, because the main complaint that we're having with EV cars at this point is the charging factor, how fast it takes to charge this battery, full battery, for the Tesla and other EVs. And that's something that they're going through now. I was listening to a podcast, and there's one gentleman out of Texas that disagrees with us moving over into electric vehicles. He feels it's a waste of time. He feels that the power grid, even in Texas, it's so old, it can't even maintain the amount of power that's needed to charge all these vehicles once they go mainstream. Now, here we go. See, look at what I'm saying. They already have this battery that charges in 5 minutes. And actually, there's another battery, when I found this story, there's another battery that charges, and I was looking on my phone here. Let me just get my notes here. This one is called Aiden Energy. Aiden Energy it's founded. I'm going to read a little bit. Founded by a team of scientists at Harvard University, is developing and scaling up a brand new type of solid state battery with demonstrated charge times as low as 3 minutes and capacity retention for over 10,000 cycles in a lab scale test. In a lab scale cell, Aiden Energy is developing cutting edge technologies to enable mass adoption of EVs around the world and contribute greatly to a cleaner future. So apparently, StoreDot, that Israeli company, is not the only manufacturing or design company that wants to create a fast charging battery. We also have Aiden. It's ADDEN batteries. You can look it up yourself. So we are well on our way to providing batteries that can fast charge, that can charge as fast as it takes to fill up your gas tank with regular gas. And I know that's something that we were always working on since the very beginning that I've been peeping electric vehicles. Since I've been having my eye on Tesla, I know it's not the very end. And as you understand how humans do. As far as the inventions that we make, whatever it create is great for the time, is revolutionary, but that doesn't mean it cannot be improved. And I always knew that electric vehicle batteries will improve. And just by seeing these two articles, these two companies as working out, we are well on our way on finding a battery that's going to charge in minutes. Hopefully they don't explode or anything of that nature like what Tesla's going through. It's bad PR, but I'm sure the designers at Tesla are trying to figure out the issues to that problem. Man, I'm all for it. As I said before, New York and California already put into effect that they want to replace all cars to EVs in about to 2035, and New York is trying to follow the same thing. It's something that we need, something that humanity needs in order to clean up our environment and to kind of stave off climate change. All right, the last story that I have here, unfortunate story, is Tua Tagovailoa. All right, I'm butchering this brother's name. My bad. So, of course, he's the QB for the Dolphins. He took a hit the other day, and he was showing signs of a concussion. A lot of folks were chiming in saying that this is a bad look on the NFL. This is bad look for the Dolphins back office, that they're not treating their athletes as they should. He got into it before in the previous game. I forgot it was the Denver Broncos. It was a game that, he got hit pretty bad. And in this game that he was against, that he was playing in recently, he actually kind of got pushed over. He didn't get hit hard, but they pushed him over. He fell on the back of his head, and he was trying to shake it off when he got back up, but he started to lose his balance. So, I can't believe that we're still going through this, that the NFL doesn't have any protocol already put into place. Let me just type this brother's name in. To protect football players from brain injuries like that. How long do we have to actually go through this? It's a shame, man. It's really, I can't even listen. It's a damn shame. As much of information and movies and everything talking about what football players are going through on the field with this brain damage, with CTE. I can't believe they're treating these guys like objects. They're treating these guys like straight bulls, as if robotic bulls, as if they can take this amount of hits. And it's really truly frustrating that you can have all this information come out about the players. And I've been reading up that they're trying to improve the safety for the players as far as better helmets, better gear, better protection. Paying more attention to NFL players if they're going through it. And here we are. We have this brother Tua that's going through the business, and to see that footage is sad. And they're not doing what's proper. And they're talking about they're trying to rush through some sort of new protocol or regulations on how they're going to deal with football players if they show any early signs of CTE. And I'm like, no, that should have been done years ago. And it should be it should be put into play when you see a QB like Tua looking like what he did. I'm like, let me tell you, what more do you need? But, man. I can't say they're moving quick. I'm not going to give them any credit. I was going to say they're moving quick. They push through this new safety protocol, but I'm not even going to say that because, again, this stuff is super old. We done had enough talk about it. You think these heads will get together and be like, all right, how are we going to protect our players? They're making us a lot of money. We can't treat them like they're robots here that we could just put them in and toss them out. And it's a shame, man. It's a shame. It's a shame. That's football, folks. That is football. I'm looking at this brother's picture right now. It was a game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Terrible, man. Terrible. Anyway, that's the deal, man. Let's see how this plays out. I'm going to keep my eye on it, and keep on giving my commentary. Everybody to me should be the medical, the head doctor and on the team, the NFL team doctor, everything. Everybody was chiming in right now at this point when you see this boy shaking his head, and now all of a sudden they want to look like they want to show all the concern for Tua when ain't nobody was saying shit before he was shaking his head, before he took that mild hit from before. So players, you got to protect yourself, man. If your league doesn't want to protect you, you have to take a stand. And I'm going to say it. Yes, take a stand to show them that you are not just inanimate objects. You're just like Tonka toys that you just throw them on the field and look what happens to them. And also, oh, well, get another player. You guys got to say your piece, man. And you got to say it together. Not one person, not two person where you become easy targets, but you have to do it as an entire league. They can't knock you down if everybody takes a stand, man. If every team pauses together, they would have no choice but to fix this issue. So let's see what happens. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next week. I'm almost done with my give me another month. I'll finish my white paper and I'm put everything together. I'm really looking forward to kind of finishing this up and really like presenting it to the folks. I think I'm actually going to redo the logo, the Lyfeblood logo, just to freshen it up a little bit. Let me see how it goes when I finish this white paper and how I'm going to do this. We'll see. So yeah, guys, thank you for listening to me. I'm going to get out of here and I'll see you next week. I'm going to try to stay up on it. Again, sorry for that lateness, but it is what it is. I'll see you next Wednesday or Thursday. All right, I'm out. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.